From Kemet to the Caribbean, from Houston to Haiti, Africans have forged a trail of success that spans throughout time and across the globe. Because of this, there can be no simple definition of Black excellence. The idea of Black excellence is as diverse as the Black experience itself. With this in mind, we decided that the only way we can explore the notion of Black excellence is through the eyes of our peers. Over 5 days, we explored Teachers College campus to discover the meaning of Black excellence. This is our story.
People that kind of inspire youth and inspire each and every one of us to kind of be more and to kind of take our culture and make it a big deal, you know? Kind of take our culture and embrace it and to use our background in order to build a stronger future.
Malcolm X, Richard Wright, Council Cullen.
I think about Colin Powell.
Professors that have mentored us along the way, the teachers in K through 12 that have supported us.
I would say Professor Gordon, Professor Carter. These are people I know. Professor Randall Richardson, Professor Yonda Seeley Ruse, Professor Mibet, Professor Walker. Do I know?
Anyone who has dedicated their lives to being great and being all that they can be as an African American is Black excellence.
I think of my peers here at Teachers College because we're all here pursuing our graduate education to be like leaders in our community, and I think those are some examples of what Black excellence here are the future.
Black single mothers out there who are doing the best for their children. So when I think of Black excellence, I actually think of my mom.
Cool.
I think of Michelle and Barack Obama.
My mother, and all of my ancestors that came before me, because they paved the way for me to be able to do what I'm doing.
But I would have to say, and it's probably no surprise because he's hanging right there on my wall, and that would be Malcolm X, for a host of reasons. The first, and I think the most important, being not just his trajectory of all that was stacked against him and how he not just went through, became above, but Malcolm was never afraid to speak wherever he was about the beauty of Blackness and also about the way Black people were not being treated correctly. And so when I think about his impact on generations, I'd have to say, you know, Malcolm X.
Triumph.
Powerful.
Commitment.
Survival.
Discipline.
On point.
Empowerment.
Achievement.
Persistence. Resiliency.
So definitely ambition and confidence.
Looks like me, educated.
I don't know, our history, Black excellence is us. We are not one people, although we have had so many similar situations that in some ways keep many of us in the same situation. But I think Black excellence is how we have found to rise above in the most difficult circumstances, historically and even so now. So yeah, I could say a lot more about that, but Black excellence is us. It is how we live, it is how we move in the world, it is who we are.
When I graduated from Howard University, just kind of like being a part of that legacy of just Black excellence, Black history, knowing that so many amazing African Americans graduated from that university and being a part of that, and hopefully, you know, being a part of that continuation of just amazing people. I was really proud to be Black that day. And
when I graduated college. Because I started college and I dropped out. And then, like I said, somebody gave me a second chance. Because it was hard to get back in school. So if it wasn't for somebody giving me a second chance, finally graduated, that was probably the proudest moment that I had, because I really wanted to make my parents proud. So,
when I was accepted to TC,
oh, look at you.
I was most proud to be a black man who's excited about education, the opportunities therein, and for the future of education in terms of changing things to support disadvantaged youth and low-income minorities.
I feel like a lot of people of color come to this point in their lives where they are noticing how they are treated differently because they are different skin color. And when I reached that point, I decided to just take it in full force. I was like, I'm not going to be ashamed of this. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm proud to be this way. I love it. What? No, like, what is possibly wrong with it? So.
Yeah. A major point for me was seeing my daughter being born, and for her coming to the world and as a black man, bringing a young lady up, and seeing her change based upon her culture. I'll say that.
Being here at Teachers College is probably like the more proudest moment to be black, because like just the location of where this university is right, as long as they say it's not, but right in the middle of Harlem. So it's kind of like you have here this Ivy League, Columbia University, predominantly white school, and then here we are pursuing our education right along inside of Harlem. So I think that's probably like the proudest moments, because it's kind of a reminder of, although we're here at this Ivy League institution, there's still so much progress that needs to be done in our communities and to give back and things of that nature.
Well, the day that I knew who I was, I always loved myself. And no matter what anyone feels, I'm proud to be an African American woman.
When I realized that we don't have all the opportunities that everyone else has, and I've still come this far.
When I had a discussion with my mother and father about race, my mom's white, my dad's black, and the kind of challenges they faced in Chattanooga, Tennessee in the mid-'80s as a biracial couple, or interracial couple. Hearing that story has me in this state of shock that my parents were able to do what at the time was seen as unthinkable in such an environment that was kind of contentious.
When President Obama was elected president, I mean, that was a really momentous day for everyone. And just like even talking to my grandparents, like everything has changed so much over decades. And like my grandparents, they were, alive during the civil rights era. So like that was a moment where everyone was just like amazed and proud to be a black person.
Well, I've always been proud to be black, but I'm sure other people have said this, but 2008, the election of President Obama, seeing the beautiful Obama, his wife and his 2 children, sort of command that stage and let the world see that yes, there's always been a president in our midst. But here it finally is. And the way that they present themselves with grace, which is who we are, I would have to say at that moment, 2008, I could still remember, it's palpable to me. I was just surging with pride.
So it's important that we uplift each other, that we support each other, that we encourage each other to keep going further and to keep working harder to, prove that, or not even just prove, but just to show that black people are excellent, that we do amazing things, and that we continuously evolve this community that we call the United States of America.
Kind of cultural significance. So this idea of not giving your culture up for kind of compromise, or not allowing it to be compromised by anyone or anything. So if you're from a specific cultural background or have a specific cultural understanding in black culture broadly said, if you have that understanding and you don't allow it to be compromised in any way, that to me is black excellence.
Not because it's Black History Month, or not because we're that distinctive where we have to have our own separate in order to be recognized, but when you start overlooking certain things, it makes it easier to ignore, makes it easier to brush off to the side or say that we aren't special when we are, and that's very important to recognize it.
I I think acknowledging Black excellence is important because a lot of people forget that Black people are a very integral part of the nation, the nation's backbones, you know? Like when you think about going out every single day, like who built the traffic light that you stop at, you know? Garrett Morgan. You don't think about how Black people are so influential, but you got to think that who tended the lands, who built everything from the hands up. It was Black people. We kind of forget that. We allow people to kind of step on us and we allow ourselves to play subservient roles. But when we really begin to think about how much we've accomplished, I think it's important for us to communicate that to our youth, communicate that to our peers, and communicate that to our community overall.
Because just look at where we have come from, to be slaves, to be nothing to be compared, be sold as cattle and animal, and for today we have a Black president. It's pure amazingness, and for people to understand that we worked hard and we deserve everything that we have obtained, and that's what we're doing. So we need to promote it and keep a generation going.
It's totally necessary for the individual growth. I think if you want to succeed, then it must come from inside of you, of where you then strive to be excellent. You must be an achiever. You must be somebody who feels like, you know what, there's no ceiling. And if someone do put a ceiling on you, and that's something that you know and confident that you'll break out of.
I think it's important to celebrate Black excellence because there's so many stereotypical characters in the media that kind of just really portray us as things that are very deviant, lazy, inferior, and things of that nature. So it's kind of good to have that reminder that there is something to be proud of regarding our culture, our identity, our race, and it's not even just limited to academia, but things that are within our community. So that's when I think of Black excellence. I think that's why we need to remember that we come from something that should be very proud of, because we built this nation.
To be an example for all this. Because, I mean, there's so many examples of the wrong things. It's like, so, for example, I heard somebody say once that this lady was complaining that there are no good Black men. And then this man got up and he said, that's not the problem. The problem is that they're there, you just don't hear about them. You always hear about the guys who are beating their wives or cheating on the girls or whatever. But you don't hear about the men who are actually good to their women. So, being an example, I think, was the answer to your question.
What I think it is that a lot of Black people are proud. Some of them don't even walk around like celebrating and stuff like that. So I think every day we should just remind people that you should be celebrating every day, just anybody. And since they don't have somebody pushing them to motivate them to do that, so I think that's a good cause, like to motivate people to celebrate themselves every day. It can make a difference. It can make somebody pursue an education.
It's because we have a real deep-rooted history that needs to be shared, not just within our community, but with the world. And with that, we are able to really help to build our future that we see that is best for us and best for all as well.
At least for me, growing up, you see how not having that as an influence can impact the rest of our community. So not just for generations that are younger than us, but even teaching those that are older than us that times are changing and that we're changing the rules that we live by. And to, I guess, join together shows that we're striving for the things that our grandparents couldn't achieve, and that we have the opportunity to do so because of all of our ancestors and those that have come before us.
Because you need to know the struggles that people went through in order to get to where you are today and to achieve more for yourself.
Well, I think, we sometimes can be an ahistorical society, and that is that we forget. And particularly, I would say young people. I'm not totally young, I'm not totally old yet, but I think we forget who we are, where we came from, some of the things that were fought for and died for us. And there's excellence in so much that we've done, not just in the civil rights movement, but I think it's important to serve as a memory, right? And particularly for younger generations to remember, what was sacrificed in order for you to be in places like Teachers College and other Ivy League institutions. That did not come easy. And there was a long history of excellence, of people of giving their lives, right? And they saw that as the ultimate, form of giving back and of excellence. It has to be remembered, because if we do not remember, that is when it becomes dangerous. Forgetting is dangerous.
You would never know what you could ever be if you never try, you would never see. Stayed in Africa, we ain't never leave. So it wasn't no slaves in our history. Wasn't no slave ships or no misery. Call me crazy, or isn't he? See, I fell asleep and I had a dream. It was all black, everything. And we ain't get exploited. White man ain't fear it, so he did not destroy it. We ain't work for free, see they had to employ it. Built it up together, so we equally appointed. First 400 years.